Hi everyone, welcome along to the Timeform and Sporting Life weekend racing preview. I'm Ben Linfoot, delighted to be joined by Matt Brocklebank from Sporting Life and Timeform's Kieran to discuss Group 1 action on either side of the Irish Sea. It's a bumper weekend, gents. Kieran, it's unusual to have Irish Champions weekend, the same Saturday as the Sprint Cup at Haydock, but it's delivered a bumper card for punters to have a go at.
Oh, there's lots to go at, isn't there? Yeah, we're used to it being on the same weekend as a Ledger, but not just these two cards at Leopardstown and Haydock. We've got a good card at Ascot, we've got good action at Kempton. Little Old Thirska's got a meeting as well. There's plenty for everyone. Yeah, brilliant Group 1 action across both days of the weekend, obviously, but focusing on Saturday and focusing on the Sprint Cup, the first superstar on the show would obviously be Shaquille, who probably will take all the beating, but I think there might be reasons to be against him.
Yeah, we're going to start with the Betfair Sprint Cup at Haydock. It is the 3:35, the Group 1 in the UK on Saturday afternoon, and we've got the Timeform ratings there, Kieran, and as you said at the top of the show, Shaquille, top of the shop on 133 plus after a couple of Group 1 wins this season at Royal Ascot and at Newmarket last time.
Yeah, so that plus, rather than a P where we think he's definitely going to improve, that plus suggests that he's not certain to improve, but we think he's capable of even better, and that's obviously because of the way he races, which we'll touch on in a bit. He's £4 clear on those ratings, weight adjusted ratings, so that roughly equates to just over a length better than these. Run to Freedom he obviously beat in the July Cup. You've got Cardem, who's obviously won the Group 1 this year. Spycatcher, we'll quickly touch on him. He needs rain to run. I think connections are about 90% sure they're not going to run him unless the heavens do open, and there is no rain forecast. And then you've got the other progressive 3-year-old in Millstream coming up for the ranks, and a Woking winner in St Lawrence. So, you know, he's got some pretty competitive rivals, for all that they're probably not top-class sprinters.
Well, let's have a look at one of the key pieces of video form, because as we saw there, Shaquille and Run to Freedom are the top two in the Timeform ratings, and they were first and second on the July course last time out. Yes,
they were, yeah, and obviously Shaquille, he's a bit of a freak really, isn't he, because you don't know sprinters who miss the break like he does, and then he carted his way to the front this day and he saw it out in good style. If he does manage to break on terms, he could sweep the floor with these, couldn't he, really? But I know the connections have done a bit of stalls work with him. I think they're going to take the rug off him a bit later than usual, which might help him break on terms. Big win for Ross Ryan there, obviously. Kim Ross was third, who franked the form, but beating Run to Freedom with Little Big Bear disappointing, Azure Blue was disappointing. I just think there might be one or two holes in that form for all that Kim Ross did frank it. And the fact is odds on, you know, what price is he going to be in running if he doesn't get away on terms like he normally does? And he might, as we'll see in the pace map, he might be drawn a little bit away from where the action. So from a punting perspective, I'm happy to take him on at odds on. If he was 6-4, 7-4, different story. But from that price, I'm against him.
Let's quickly touch on Run to Freedom, Matt, because he's second in on Timeform ratings. He was second there to Shaquille. Is he a potential each-way play?
Yeah, he's got to be. I suppose he's possibly around the right sort of price. He's got his own quirks as well, hasn't he? He's sort of been around a little while, but only really this year's kind of burst onto this Group 1 scene in a big way. I think the cheek pieces have helped him. He did actually bomb out at Haydock on his only previous run at the track. That was at the start of this season, but it was, I mean, his seasonal debut. He was slowly from the stalls again.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trait of his, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another one where you wouldn't necessarily trust him to get it right at the start and give himself the best shot of victory in a Group 1 of this calibre. I'd be against the pair of them, to be honest. They just give other horses a chance, don't they? Certainly with Shaquille, he should win. He's the best horse in this race. He's champion sprinter of the season, but he just gives me enough of an angle in. Just to tempt me into an each-way bet against him.
Given Shaquille can miss the break, and you've talked about Run to Freedom slow starts as well, the pace map could be vital to help us dissect this race, because as we can see, it's a big field.
Yeah, it is. It is a really big field, and the important thing as well is what state is the ground going to be at Haydock. Obviously, when you go back to the start of this year, we've seen, over the years, we've seen lots of iffy stuff going on at Haydock on the sprint track earlier
rail
this
bias,
season. There's strong rail bias earlier this season.
Well, look at Swing Along there at the bottom.
Yeah.
She could be a key pace angle.
She's aptly named, isn't she?
She goes along at a right on rate, doesn't she? And you would imagine it's going to help bring other horses with her towards the stand side. And if you think about Shaquille, who is more towards the other side in stall 3, in stall 5, I beg your pardon. I'd be focused on those maybe who are going to get a decent toe into things among the high numbers.
Could it be run to suit Cardem, Kieran?
I think it could, yeah. He obviously caused a bit of a surprise when winning the Jubilee at Ascot. Yeah. Obviously Jamie Spencer special that day, but since then he was 5th in that July Cup. Now, back on softer ground, I don't think that suited him. I don't think the track at Newmarket suited him downhill for the majority of that. He didn't run too badly in the Nunthorpe, I didn't think. He looked like he was making his way through horses before his effort petered out. I think a strongly run 6 furlongs is what he wants. He's 33-1. I think it'll be Jamie Spencer from the stalls, right hand down to try track that pace, and I can see him running on for a place. He's probably not good enough to win it. You'd think of that Group 1, the champion sprints at Ascot at the back end of the season. That's probably his main target, isn't it, given his effectiveness there. But I won't be surprised if he ran a big race at a massive price.
You were quite keen on St Lawrence anti-post, Matt. Are you still thinking he's a bet?
Yeah, I think he could be a bet. He was 20-1 at the start of the week. I did think that was big, certainly when Spycatcher was kind of second, third in the market, because St Lawrence ran really well in the Morris de Geese. That was just behind Spycatcher. He was a close third. Didn't really get an ideal trip through, and perhaps that could be the key again this weekend if he gets the gaps. I think it must have been a real source of frustration for Roger Varian, because he did show flashes in his youth of potential brilliance. But the move to Archie Watson, I'm not sure what sparked it exactly, but it could be any amount of things, but it's really, really helped him. Won the Wokingham, okay, it was off 100 or 101, mark of 100. He's got to step up again, but he's clearly shown it wasn't a flash in the pan with that run in France. That was on softer ground, quick ground, strong pace. They're two really good, assets for St Lawrence. That's really going to help him. It's a big ask taking on Shaquille, but again, I'm happy to weigh in with him each way. If you can get 14, 16-1, yeah, I think he's a bet.
The refitting of blinkers have helped him as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it can be hard, can't it, to bridge that gap between handicaps and Group 1s, but we have seen it before. I know Kate Byron, who won the Wokingham, he went close into a Group 2 company. Rohan as well. He was third in this race a few years ago after winning the Wokingham. It can be done.
Refit nearly did it. St Lawrence reminds me of Glenn Shield. He sort of progressed through the ranks, didn't he, for the same connections for Archie Watson.
Good outfit, Watson. Yeah, he's in good form.
Final video clue, and it's William Haggas's Sacred, who sports not first-time cheek pieces, but reapplied cheek pieces on Saturday. Here she is finishing 5th at York in the famous red, white and blue Chiefly Park Silks. Yeah,
I thought she ran all right this day. It was a pretty strong City of York. You see there Kim Ross fighting it out with Sandrine and Audience, the other Chiefly Park horse. She was set a bit too much to do, I thought. The trip would be my concern. You think she went really close at Ascot at the Royal meeting, but that was a real stiff 6 furlongs. I just think a bit of a sharper 6, even though she's probably going to get it run to suit. I can see her running on at the end. I just don't think she's a sprinter. I think 7 furlongs is probably
Yeah, I love a bit of Sacred. I've always.
You think she's gone? You said in the office.
I think she might just about enough.
She's finished. You said
they've hinted at retirement, haven't they? At the end of the season, I just wonder if that can't come quick enough.
Yeah,
William Haggis will be ringing us up again.
I think the reapplied cheek pieces just to try and help her really travel into this and find that old zest, which we know she's got.
She hasn't got many more chances, I don't think.
No. One final horse to talk about is the second favourite, Millstream. Now, when I went off on holiday, he was a 99 rated handicapper, but I've come back and he's run a couple of blinding races at Deauville.
You have a month off, isn't it?
I can barely remember it. Yeah, Millstream, he is very much progressive. A horse that I was a little bit annoyed, obviously, to see that progression after I fancied him in the big 3-year-old sprint at York in mid-June. He ran pretty well behind Quinault, has since gone even closer in the big one at Newmarket, again 3-year-old handicap, and then this switch to France. He's won 2 races at Deauville, looking very much the finished article now and looking the business on soft and very soft ground. So that would be, a slight question mark, getting back on quicker ground, but he has got decent ground form in the book as well. So yeah, he's on a steep upward curve. Marco Gianni is clearly getting on really well with him this season. Adam Kirby rode him, I think, as a 2-year-old last year. So look, he's an improver. He's in there with St Lawrence, I think, for me.
Shaquille.
He has got a verdict over Shaquille, hasn't he, from York last year, when Shaquille probably wasn't anywhere near
Yeah,
his best.
he blew his brains at Aycombe. He wasn't ready for that at all.
Yeah, possibly again another one maybe about the right price, 10 or 11 to 1.
So, sticking with St Lawrence?
I'm sticking with St Lawrence each way because I do think he is going to get that strong gallop over on the stand side, and he might just be able to make a challenge before Shaquille hits top gear.
And 2 against the field for you, Kieran?
Yeah, St Lawrence and Carden for me, as previously stated.
Excellent stuff. There is some superb action, of course, in Ireland as well this weekend, and we're going to take a look at the Royal Bahrain Irish Champion Stakes, the 320 at Leopardstown on Saturday, because it's crackerjack renewal, as it always seems to be this race. And we'll take a look at the Timeform ratings. Now, Kieran, I was a little surprised to see Nashwa top of the shop here.
Yeah, she bounced right back to her best, isn't she, in that Jumpmont last time. She's probably top because of that weight adjusted ratings. The weight allowance she gets just sneaks her top, but it's very rare. We're blessed with a real good crop of middle distance horses this year, and it's rare you see a Group 1, the top 6 split by £3. But yeah, she's had a really busy campaign so far, hasn't she? She obviously won the Falmouth, then on to the Nassau where things didn't go to plan. Then she ran in the Jumpmont. Now she's at the Irish Champion. It's rare for the Gosdens to campaign one as aggressively as this. You know, she seems to be running every 2 or 3 weeks. So the question I have with Nashwa, she's obviously good enough to beat the boys, to run very well against them. Is this just maybe one run too many? We saw, you know, she split Mostadaf and Paddington at York. There's nothing wrong with that form whatsoever. I just worry, is it just going to come a bit too soon after York? That'll be my concern.
It's 3 Group 1s in 5 weeks, isn't it?
Right.
Or 5 and a bit weeks. It is going back to the well again for her. You've got to respect her. I do think that graphic speaks volumes, though. You've got obviously the 2 at the top of the market are August Rodin and King of Steel, and they're a little bit off the older horses there.
Well,
fraction.
I don't know about you, Matt, but I haven't watched the Derby finish for ages. So we're going to see it again.
Does it hurt?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? August Rodin beating King of Steel at Epsom. Here we are again. The son of Deep Impact wearing down their Ammo Racing horse late
So this is roughly
proceedings.
2 furlongs out here, isn't it? So this is obviously tomorrow's trip, and you can see there.
King of Steel's got him.
Yeah.
King of Steel's got him, and not only that, you have to factor in the fact that King of Steel was due to run in the Dante Stakes, had to miss his prep. He got worked up at the start. He was withdrawn. August Rodin had a prep. All right, it was pretty abysmal in the 2000 Guineas on bad ground, and here he comes and beats him and outstays him in the Derby. Even if they're both on that sort of form, I think they're a little bit behind some of these older horses. I really do. And can we really? I mean, we've been here before, and he may well embarrass us again, August Rodin. But I think I would maintain still. Sounds a bit mad. He was Derby winner. He was a bad favourite that day. I would maintain that, and I think he's a really bad favourite potentially this weekend. The money's all for August Rodin this weekend.
You couldn't back him all the way around. He went into that back straight, totally off the bridle, and bombed out, didn't he?
No, he can go and win.
He's done that this
He
season.
can go and win again for me.
Yes,
he's a bad favourite.
I must admit, I'm with the older horses in this race.
I love King of Steel, but he's not won a Group 1, and he's 9-4 favourite. So on that grounds, I'd take him on. This trip will definitely suit him. But yeah, I'm with the old horses as well, Scoop.
It could be a tactical race. Let's have a look at the pace map, and we will try and see what's going to happen in terms of pace and gallop. And you've got Luxembourg, last year's winner, who we think's likely to be up there, and Ballydoyle, obviously with Point Lonsdale in as well, could be setting this up for something else.
Well, the 3 there towards the right hand side are all Aidan O'Brien's, aren't they? Yeah. So I'd say every other jockey in this race is going to have to be on their mettle. It is a fascinating battle. Frankie Dettori in for Ernesto. That is a really interesting booking.
Yeah.
It could be a really inspired move, I think. He's a class horse, Ernesto. I do have a fair amount of time for him. The one who I think could be sitting on quite a major personal best is Alf Layla. Now, you might think here, is he going to get a race run to suit? I think Leopardstown might really suit this horse. He travels, but he just takes a moment to find that top gear. But I just think with that in mind, Jim Crowley's he's gonna have sort of his mind made up for him. He's gonna have to bide his time and come wide. I think whereas some of the others might just get lured into that potential early battle or the dicey inside run, I think Jim is gonna have to come wide off the bend and come with that late run on Alf Layla. And I just wonder if he might be able to come and pick them all up.
Yeah, I like Alf
Layla
Layla
as
as
well.
well.
York.
I thought he not only did well, but
let's watch that. Let's watch that race
enough,
because it's our final video clue of the preview, and we can see Al Flaler here, obviously in the Shadwell silks on the left-hand side. And he does do well to pick them up from this position on this track, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think this is a really notable performance. It was his first run of the season. Others were race fit. And Andrea Zini on board this day, a brilliant jockey from that sort of position on any course. But it is hard to pull this off at York. And look at the ground he makes up here on the outside. And he gets there
and does nothing.
I just think that's a brilliant sign. And it's a real sign that there's more in the tank. It was his first run over 10 furlongs, so he's not only is he dead fresh, he's totally unexposed over 1.25 miles. And you just look at him, but Burrow's record, the horses that he runs in Group 1 races are there on merit. They've supplemented this horse. It's been a fantastic year already for the Shadwell Estate operation, but Burrows has been absolutely central to it. He's run Anmart in a Group 1, and he's won at the top level. He's run Hookham in a Group 1, he's won. They're the only horses he's run at Group 1 level. I mean, he won on this weekend last year, didn't he?
Won the Sprint Cup
Minza.
last year. Yeah.
I think it's really notable that Al Flader goes over there, and while
Jim could be back with a bang, couldn't he?
Jim's back, yeah. You could argue that he's not being completely missed in the market. We're not talking about a 12-1 shot here in a Group 1. You know, he is.
I think 6-1's fair.
I think there might just be a bit of juice in that.
A little bit of juice left. I think we're both with Al Flader.
Decent ground
Kieran,
as well.
Are you with him as well, or some other ideas?
I'm going to take a chance on Ernesto. The Frankie factor's not kicked into his price. He's 7-1, 13-2, and I thought he had a brilliant prep in the Jack Lamaroir over an inadequate trip. He was second in this last year, obviously behind Luxembourg, but he's always struck me as a horse that would do better at 4, and we've only seen him once this year. Things didn't go to plan in the Arc. They thought he was good enough to run in the Japan Cup, and he didn't really get a clear run on that occasion.
Yeah, that
and he
suggests as well that they think he'll handle decent ground. You're always going to get fast ground.
Yeah, that's his only run on what we've called good to firm, but he stays a bit further, so if the O'Brien battalion do go off a bit too quick, you know he's going to be finishing fast. I mean, you know what these French stayers are like. They seem to have a turn of foot as well. So I think he could go one better than last year, and I think it's a decent price, about 7-1, Ernesto. Yeah,
it's a very good race, the Royal Bahrain Irish Champion Stakes. Ernesto for Kieran, Al Flaler for myself and Matt. Thank you guys, enjoyed that. Sprint Cup and Irish Champion covered. Thank you for watching. Enjoy a stellar Group 1 weekend.